Alright, let's go. Okay, I'm ready. Oh no! Oh no, that looks bad. Did you really do that? Oh fuck! So, what you've just seen is what I fear could happen if a Mass Effect movie ever saw the light of day. And I know the rumors are out there. And I want to talk about why I think a Mass Effect movie won't work. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everything in between and neither. Before I get into the video, feel free to follow me on my social media on Instagram and Twitter at CommanderNici, just like my channel name. And now, let's go. And the problem is, first of all, you can't make everyone happy. Especially when it comes to a franchise like Mass Effect. I mean, just look at the very controversial ending of the trilogy. That was very often discussed in very heated discussions. And a movie? That would just blow things and discussions out of proportion. That would be simply too much, and I want to get more into why it wouldn't work, so buckle up, get a drink, shovel some time free. I want to talk about it. So it's a choice-based game. How do you want to make people happy? And if you think about it, it comes down to the very first choice you take in the game. Do you want to play as a male shepherd or as a female shepherd? That's gonna be the first point where people's opinions are gonna go in different directions. The second choice that's also, in my opinion, really important to the Mass Effect series is the love interest. I mean, obviously, I think the canon, in air quotes, pick would be Liara, since she's the only option in the entire trilogy that's romanceable throughout all three games, even though in a second it's a little more complicated, but it still counts. And should the council be saved, will you pick Ashley or Kaiden on Wormire? What about Rex on Wormire? Udina or Anderson for president? for council? All those choices, and those are just choices from the first game. I forgot the Rek'Nai Queen. And you already got a handful of choices just for the first game. And then there's the second game. You've got all those different things that Shepard's deciding on, and the relationships with the squad members, and all the decisions that Shepard has to take, and the ways Shepard could react to certain situations. All those things that make the Mass Effect series as a game so interesting would be taken away if they were to be made into a movie. And that brings me to my next point. You can't make a whole trilogy into one movie. And I talked with a friend about it, and we agreed that you can't make the trilogy into one movie, and that even 3 movies wouldn't be enough. Like, I did some math and research, and all cutscenes of the first Mass Effect game come down to 3 hours and 45 minutes. And yeah, while seasoned Lord of the Rings fans would say, hey, that's not much, that's just where we're getting started. With the first 2 Lord of the Rings films just being around the same length, and the third one being at 4 hours and 11 minutes. Like, yes, that's a lot. Not for many movie fans, because they are used to this long movies, but not everyone has the time, energy, or attention span to focus on movies that long. And the second Mass Effect game, with all cutscenes, according to my research, comes down to 7 hours and 52 minutes. That's almost 8 hours, not including the DLCs. And the third movie is 9 hours and 30 minutes. That's a lot of time. And that's 21 hours. That's an entire day. And with the DLC, it would probably be about 30 hours or so. That makes it a whole 20 hours longer than all 3 Lord of the Rings movies combined. I mean, the Mass Effect cutscenes are combined too in this case, but you see my point. You can't make that into a movie, because I think every cutscene in the Mass Effect franchise has its place and importance, and that's why I think it can't be cut down into a 2 or 3 hour movie. That's simply not possible. And I don't think a TV show would be fitting either, because TV shows would probably be at a lesser of a budget than a movie could be. And then there's the question, how do you cut up the episodes? I mean, the seasons are clear, you get 3 seasons, 1 for each game, and you're done with it. But then there's the other question of, how do you execute that? What about the aliens? Will you make it CGI? Will you have costumes? Will you have partial or practical effects, or all digital stuff? What about the casting? For example, I can't imagine a Shepard without Mark Mears or Jennifer Hale's voice. That's something that I just can't get into my head. And that's something I'd be worried about thinking about a Mass Effect movie being made. And it's a lot. And I wouldn't want it to be bad, because this franchise, those games mean a lot to me, and then having it be overshadowed by a mediocre at best movie or TV show it would be sad, and I really don't want that. But enough about the downy downs and the saddy sads, and I want to actually talk about what I think could work for something Mass Effect related in the whole movie and TV show realm. So let's go for that. So my idea is step away from Shepard. I know, scandalous. Mass Effect without Shepard? Is that even possible? And you know what? I think it is. Look at Paragon Lost. I think that movie was fine. And I would like more movies like that. Maybe not the anime style. Maybe do it more animated, like actual game graphics. Well, more modern game graphics than what we are used to from Mass Effect, but you probably get my drift. Or do it live action. But we have more stories in the Mass Effect universe than just Shepard's. For example, we have those books here focusing on David Anderson and his adventures before the trilogy takes place. We have companions whose backstory could be told. We could make an actual dark and gritty war movie about the First Contact War. An actual sci-fi war movie. And I'm not talking Star Wars, which I love, by the way, but Star Wars is more the classical hero story, and that would be turning back to the story that in the Mass Effect universe I think is actually, from a fan's perspective, more reserved for Shepard. So I really think a Mass Effect movie could actually work if we don't focus on retelling the story of the games that we all played. If we take backstories from companions, it could work. Like when Garrus was doing his Batman stuff on Omega, that is a story worth telling. Thing's backstory could be so interesting and cool to tell. And if we get the makeup artists on board that worked on Shape of Water, we have our perfect Drell costume ready. Like, that could be so amazing. Or maybe a movie about the Quarian and the Geth and the Morning War. Was that the word, the Morning War? I think it was. But you know what I mean. Or, you know what could be absolutely amazing and something that I would sign up to watch first day? A Blasto movie. And kindle this. But like, yeah. Mass Effect universe has so many stories to tell that aren't Shepard's. And I think actually to make people happy, that would be the way to go. Give us backstories from companions. Give us the First Contact War. Give us David Anderson's backstory stuff before the trilogy started. A Blasto movie. All that stuff. Something like that. just have something set in the Mass Effect universe and just don't focus on Shepard. That's what the games are for. And I think that could work, and I would be excited to see that. I mean, I want to be honest, I would be excited to see an actual Mass Effect movie focusing on a trilogy too, but I would have my doubts and be unhappy with certain decisions. For example, I would love to see a female Shepard on the screen and not a male one, but not to roast the movie industry too much, but we know that the decision is gonna be a male Shepard, and I kinda don't want to see that. Shepard is a great character, but I prefer a female one, and so do many others, and those people would be just as unhappy with a male Shepard in the movie franchise about Mass Effect than I would be. And yeah, so I think the best way to do a Mass Effect movie would be without Shepard. Leave a like if you agree with what I just said. Comment down below, what would your perfect Mass Effect movie look like? Feel free to follow me on my social media on Instagram and Twitter at CommanderNici, just like my channel name. Subscribe if you haven't already, and until I figured out what I can upload next, watch my other stuff. Bye.